programme contains strong language throughout and topics that some viewers may find offensive.
Hello! I've got a bit of a confession. I've already lied to you. I haven't even started. My name's not even Phil Buckley. That's a stage name. I know, showbiz. My real name is actually Philip James Buckley. I didn't want to go far. I didn't want to forget it. But there's a reason why I use the name Phil and not Philip, because all names have a meaning. And if I use the name Phil, it translates as lover. Thank you very much. But if you use the name Philip, it translates as lover of horses. It's not the best image, I'll be honest with you. I have, of course, been known by many names over the years, being the obvious things like Philip Phil, Big Phil, Little Phil, Fat Phil. Cheers. Philippus, Philoppotamus, Philpot, Philpot Stew, James, Jimmy, Pip, PJ, Al, Gordon, Herman, Barry, Baz, Bazza, Big Baz, Buckley, Buck, Bucky, Bucky O'Hare, Buck Rogers. 1, 2, Buckle My Shoe. I quite like that one, but my all-time personal favourite is My Name is a Spoonerism. You do a very childish thing, you swap the first couple of letters over, and Phil Buckley so very easily becomes Bill Fuckley. Right? I love that. I think that's brilliant. I love the fact that my parents weren't smart enough to notice you could do that with my name. Right? I didn't think I'd find a better example until I read about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Now, does anyone know what they called their first daughter? Go on. Exactly. They called their daughter Shiloh Pitt. Right. I'm quite juvenile. But that makes me happy because I love the idea, no matter how rich and famous you become in this world, you'll still have a mate stood behind you going, don't fucking tell them, it'll be brilliant when they find out. I've always found names funny. I think it comes from when I was a child. I grew up in a small village outside of Manchester called Ramsbottom, which is mildly amusing, except for the fact that Ramsbottom's a valley. I lived on the side of the hill at the top, so as a child, my address was Upper Ramsbottom, which was nice. I have since moved. I now live in Salford. Yeah. Woo! Yay! Salford, Bosnia of the North. I do love Salford. Salford's brilliant, because if you want to meet a girl, you first have to step through her earrings to talk to her. That's one of my favourite jokes. I did it in Edinburgh when I had a reviewer in, and she sat at the front, and I thought, right, I'll ignore you there, and I did the joke, and it got a massive response, and I had the instant thing of going, well done, dickhead. That's an extra star on the review. Only to turn around to realise she had the biggest fucking hoop earrings you've ever seen in your life. I will apologise if I say something really random or odd. It's because there's two things wrong with me. One, I'm dyslexic. One, I have attention deficit disorder, which is a brilliant combination for an act. It really is. Because this afternoon, when I should have been thinking about what I'm going to say, going, right, I'll do that bit, I'll do that bit, I'll do that bit. Couldn't really read my notes, but it didn't matter because I was too busy going, oh, look, a butterfly. So I go a bit weird, and I end up doing things called brain farts. Now, couple of people chuckled who know what brain farts are. For those of you that don't, right, a brain fart is a thought that acts like a fart. It will bubble to the surface and want to get out. Now, once it's there, you can try and hold on to it. But sometimes you just can't manage and it escapes. Now, when it escapes, one of two things happens. One, it's completely unnoticed and you get away with it. Or, the other, it's quite fucking horrific, it can clear a room. Right, and I'm famous for having brain farts. They're the kind of thing that make you look like a bloke who turned up to a nativity play wearing a gimp mask. You know, you become that popular, right? I had a spectacular one. I just started out in comedy. I'd only been going about 3 weeks. I turned up to a gig. This is not the first time I've been filmed for camera. That was. They said, right, it was a TV programme with Jenny Powell called Stand Up Jenny. And the whole point of the programme was that Jenny Powell thought, right, I'm going to be a comedian. I'm going to go watch loads of gigs. I'll be really funny, and then it'll boost my career. Right, so she turned up at this gig, and they got all the acts to sign a consent form saying, can we show footage? Now, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have signed the consent form. Because they'll only show the footage if one of two things happens. One, you rip the arse off the gig and you look like a comedy legend. Or two, you make a complete dick of yourself. Hello. Basically, I signed it, and in my head, it's that same thing. You hear that voice, and I just went, this is it, right, brilliant, TV credit. Next week, I'll be headlining the Comedy Store. The week after, DVD deal for Christmas. I've made it, woohoo, big start, right? What I didn't acknowledge is the fact that I'd only just started and I was shit. Right? And I was stood at the back of the room, the mic was in the stand, and I walked out and I went to get the mic and I saw the camera with the little red light and I froze. I froze solid. And my brain just went, well done, dickhead, you're on your own, and fucked off. Right? And I just stood there and went, bollocks. And I was like, and I didn't do anything. I didn't even breathe for a minute and a half. How I didn't pass out, God knows. And then I had a brain fart where my mouth started talking without consulting my head, right? Because I basically just went, hey, ladies and gentlemen, Jenny Powell. I remember watching you on Wheel of Fortune. My dad come into the room and going, stop that, you'll go blind. ITV1. A quick question for you. Who in this room has ever been drunk? Okay, a few liars, but fair enough. Who in this room has ever been so drunk they've woken up the next morning and gone, oh, bollocks, I really shouldn't have done that? Cool. Before I ask the next question, I need to give you a bit of background. Believe it or not, I used to work for a college in Manchester, teaching on a degree course. For one of my students' 21st birthdays, it's safe to say I got a bit drunk. And I want to know, has anybody ever done anything worse than this? And at this point, I like to point, I take fuck all responsibility for this. My students got me smashed out of my head on Red Bull and vodka, which is an idiot's idea for a drink, because Red Bull gives you energy and vodka gives you ideas. So I take no responsibility. Right? I saw this girl I quite liked, and I thought, right, I'm going to go and try and chat her up, which is not a good start. So I staggered over and realised I couldn't remember any chat-up lines. Panicked and went, I am the panda! Stroke the panda for panda loving! Has anybody ever done that? It worked on you? Fair enough. I'll speak to you later. That's quite weird, thank you. I've only ever had 2 responses and one's not I pulled, but cheers. The other 2 responses one was another act from Manchester who decided to tell a packed room about this size with this many people, oh, I got a bit drunk and I tried to snog my own brother. Why would you tell anyone? And the other was in Leeds, right? I love Leeds because this girl stood up and went, she basically stood up and went, oh, I'd had a bit too much wine and I asked the guy who wanted to touch me where I wee. I fucking love Leeds. The main reason, though, I'll tell you this very quickly before I go. I was there a few years ago when they switched the Christmas lights on in Leeds. Leeds City Council thought, who shall we get? In their ultimate wisdom, got Dick and Dom from Dick and Dom in the Bungalow. Brilliant choice. Now, somebody had found out about this, and where they do, it's outside Town Hall. There's like a massive street they block off with a stage, and then to the side is a load of flats with balconies. Now, somebody who lived in one of the flats found out and went, I've got an idea, and made a 25-foot banner. Now, through the gig, Dick and Dom tried getting cheers for anything like you do when you're comparing, and went, let's give a big cheer to everyone on the balcony. And this bloke just grasped his moment, kicked the banner, which dropped down, and for 25 foot, all you could read were the words, Dom sucks dick. My favourite part about that story, though, is where Dick and Dom were stood. They couldn't see the banner. All they saw was this almighty cheer go up in front of them and thought, fuck it, and took a bow. You guys have genuinely been lovely. Enjoy the rest of your night. I've been Phil. Cheers. Good night.